Office has ruled that Britain must adopt a 48-hour maximum working week, despite objections by the government. The Prime Minister said the government would fight for the legislation to be reversed.
The Prime Minister, inspecting a natural gas-powered car this morning, has made no secret of his determination to fight this ruling, up to the point of blocking agreement at next year's Intergovernmental Conference.
So I believe it is a bad piece of legislation. I don't accept that it is appropriate for the United Kingdom, and we shall go to the Intergovernmental Conference and we shall insist on reversing this legislation at the Intergovernmental Conference.
The government says working hours aren't a matter for health and safety legislation. Opposition spokesmen disagree.
This is the diplomacy of the playground. John Major knows perfectly well it's an empty gesture because the IGC will not come for a decision until June after the next election, and he's not going to be there.
The government is really rather out of step with public opinion in thinking that they can convince people this is some great bogeyman that needs to be slayed.
The government's insisting on full consultation before implementation. It'll be months before the 48-hour week becomes law.
United Nations diplomats say Canada has offered to lead a multinational force to speed up aid deliveries to 1 million refugees in eastern Zaire. Aid workers in Goma will today try and deliver the blankets and medicines which were allowed into the town yesterday.
After days of negotiations, a trickle of aid was brought into Goma yesterday. There was enough food for 2,500 people for a week, but it got no further than the town's football stadium. While politicians continue to argue over how to respond to the humanitarian crisis in Zaire, aid agencies will try again today to resume their life-saving work. What's needed are supplies for the 1 million Hutus who fled their camps in eastern Zaire soon after the Tutsi uprising began 3 weeks ago. The exact whereabouts of these refugees is still unclear because journalists and aid workers have been confined to the Rwandan side of the border.
Detectives say a fire at a Home Office laboratory in West Yorkshire may have been started deliberately. It's thought there was more than one seat of fire at the building in Wetherby, which analyses blood and DNA samples for police forces across the north of England. Scientists believe they may have found the reason why men are less fertile than they used to be. The Environment Agency says the female hormone estrogen is entering waterways from sewage works, causing sexual deformities in fish. It's thought there may be a link between estrogen found in the water supply and declining human sperm counts. That's it. There'll be more news in an hour.
Good morning from the Spotlight News Desk. Police are continuing to question a man in connection with the murder of the Plymouth teenager Nicola Parsons. 18-year-old Nicola was found raped and strangled in a derelict building in the Stoke area of the city in July. She was last seen alive in the city's Clubland. Last night, police arrested a 23-year-old man in Plymouth. It's believed a second man is also helping with inquiries. The trial is beginning at Exeter Crown Court of the man accused of murdering a stable girl in South Devon. It's alleged that Stephen Webber, who's 39 and from Dartbridge, killed Jessie Hurlston last October. The 27-year-old, seen here in a home video released by her family, had worked at the stables of the national hunt trainer Richard Frost in Buckfastleigh. Mr. Webber denies murder. There's concern that Cornwall's fire control centre could be closed and its operation merged with Devon's. There's a warning it could lead to delays in response times. The idea is contained in the annual report by the Fire Service Inspectorate. Cornwall's chief fire officer says he's already considered and dismissed the idea. Onto the weather now. A little sunshine, especially west of the moors, along with some showers. Feeling cold, though, with a highest temperature of 9 degrees Celsius.
Hello, good morning to you. There's been quite a bit of rain and wind around the south of the British Isles today. This weather front slowly slipping southwards during the course of the afternoon. It shows up quite clearly on the satellite picture just to the north of Hull down towards Plymouth. At the same time, another weather front moving in from the far north, giving showers here. Now, the heaviest rain has been up to the northeast of Leicester. In fact, eastern parts of England have seen some very heavy bursts of rain. But the rain is dying away as it moves southwards. Eventually, they'll see a little bit of sunshine towards the end of the afternoon. Strong northerly winds, it's never feeling that warm. Gale force at times.